What's that? We're going to surprise you and start on time. Because your perception was that here is Athens, Greece, everything goes late. We don't start on time. And this afternoon session will take place tomorrow. But no, we're going to start on time. Okay. Good morning. Welcome to Athens. My name is Gregory Papanikos. I am the president of this so-called institute, actually association of world academics. We organize small events every year and every week actually in Athens, in Greece. And my purpose here is to say a few words out of my head, and then Professor Poulos, our Vice President, will do a more formal presentation and opening remarks, and then Professor Patrikis, who is the academic member responsible for this conference, will present something as an opening speech, and hopefully we'll start a little bit earlier than 9:30. Now, see the perception. Now let me explain first why we call ourselves an institute, even though we are an association. Association of board professors, very few people, very few academics are from Greece, because we are based in Athens, Greece, but we are not a Greek institute. We call ourselves an institute because initially our members want to have the opportunity to apply for funding, particularly within the European Union. And if you are an association name, it's very difficult to apply for funding as an academic member, because as an association, we are not being funded by anybody. So we are non-government, non-partisan, non-profit organization, and we are based upon fees that you pay and our members pay, so we can organize this event. This fourth annual International Conference on Architecture follows exactly the same rules and policies we apply to all our conferences. We like to organize small events, and for us, the qualitative difference is to have people from different countries. So our mission is here to provide a forum where academics within a broadly defined subject can come from all over the world, meet and exchange ideas. Having said that, I might say as well that your 15 minutes presentation is not so important. More important is that you collaborate, you contribute to the discussion, you meet other people. So this is the idea. There are so many other conferences much better than ours from an academic point of view that you can go and present. And of course we know very well, the reason that you are here, most of you, if it's your first time, is because you are attracted by the city of Athens and Greece. So it's a vacation come academic purpose that you are here. I know that. And of course we exploit that as well, because still you can combine pleasure with academic affairs, and there's nothing wrong with that. And actually we have, you read your piece of information here, we have a full package that combines these two. Like you can go, even though the cruise most probably by many of you is considered as a pleasure, but you have an opportunity to continue the discussion with academics from all over the world, points that were raised during the session here. Now, I want to make only one more comment, and of course Professor Papas that will chair the first history session. We separate our academic things, me, Professor Patrikis, Professor Poulos, and Papas. We are academic members. So if you have any question about administration, which most probably relates to this piece of information here, please do not ask us. This is very important. And even if we respond, don't take us serious. And third and most important, do not ask for a refund based upon our answers. This is the most important. And I'd like to make it sure, don't write us an email that Professor Papanikos told me so and so, please refund me. Whenever you have a problem of administration, we have one research assistant inside the room. For this room is Olga. And we have another administrator assigned only for this conference, so they can deal. And second, and most importantly, all of us follow our policies written 1 year in advance. They cannot change the policies, they cannot change the rules of the game. So please do not insist to be treated differently from what we have said 1 year in advance, because that's impossible for me or for them. And always the first session, usually, not always, usually the first session of a conference is a demonstration session, just to show that we have 15 minutes to present, and then at the end the discussion. There are many reasons why we do that, and please do not violate this rule as well. Especially, I'm talking to the chairs. The chairs, you will see Professor Papas as an excellent example, do not talk. You see, he doesn't talk. Do not talk, just they are timekeepers. And if you have an internal urgency to talk, and you've been assigned to chair a session, please ask immediately to change. This is very important. We follow the North American style of chairing. Do not comment on papers presented, and the discussion at the end. We have some speakers that they want a discussion at the end of their paper so they can leave. No, leave him leave, and it's better than to violate this policy and rule. And I'll explain why this is important. I'll stop here. It has to do with languages as well, the English language. A lot of people, English is not their first language. And of course, we don't aspire to any political, social, psychological, whatever connotations that might be implied by the use of the English language. Ancient Greek was out of question. Very few people will talk and understand ancient Greek. So we have to choose a language, and that's English, fortunately or unfortunately. But if your English is not the first language, then, and you have a very bad accent, just try to imitate, as I say, my accent is the best English accent. See, you understand? That's the thing. The best English accent. That's how English should be spoken. And of course, Professor Poulos has a South African accent, and Professor Papa has an American accent. But if you feel a little bit that you don't understand the questions at the end of each session, don't be intimidated. Say it's their fault, we don't understand the English, it's their accent that we don't understand, and feel free, because that's what we wanted. Of course, the discussion continues during the event. Thank you very much for being here. I give the floor to Professor Poulos to carry on with the opening remarks. Thank you.
Right, on behalf of the Athens Institute for Education and Research, I'd like to welcome you to the International Conference on Architecture. Just a few words about the Institute. Atiner was established in 1995, and its mission is to act as a forum where academics and researchers from all over the world come together to this historic cradle of democracy, Athens, in order to exchange ideas on their research, to interact with each other, and to discuss future developments in their disciplines. Basic activities of Atiner include the organizing and hosting of international conferences such as this one for the symposiums, carrying out of research, and the production of various publications. And since 1995, Atiner has organized more than 350 international conferences and other events, and has published close to 150 books. Atiner has also organized numerous roundtable discussions and public speeches on topical issues. The Institute is also currently involved in an ambitious project regarding the proposed establishment of an academic village. The aim is to establish a community of research scholars and academics, and the proposed village will include a conference center, living facilities, as well as facilities for research and recreation. And you'll find more information on this in the brief file. Right, turning to today's activities. Dr. Papanik has already said a few words about this. You should each have a program by now. Please note that this is important that each presentation is limited to 15 minutes. And the chairperson will keep time and will use the 3 and 1 minute reminder cards. And I'd like to ask the chairs to adhere strictly to these time constraints. Please allow questions and discussion after all the papers have been presented and not after each paper. Chairpersons must also fill out the report forms that they will be receiving. This is important because the final program will be based on the chairperson's reports. Should you need to make use of technical facilities in your presentation, please confirm that everything is in order before the session begins. be someone from the admin staff to help in this regard. And there will also be a coffee break between sessions. Please also consult the social program, which is red in color. And you'll find the Greek night tonight is to be recommended. Apart from Greek cuisine, there'll be lots of Greek music and dancing, and you can join in if you like. And then, of course, there'll be the urban walk tomorrow. The person in charge of that is Dr. Gregory Kansas, who will be tomorrow. And then follows the cruise to selected islands and the visit to the ancient city, the ancient site of Delphi. Right, on the issue of publications, just a few words on this. The Institute is involved with various publications. Firstly, there are the abstracts which are published, and there are certain institutes that require publication of abstracts, and so we do offer this as well. Secondly, the papers that are presented at this conference are placed on the web as part of an online paper series soon after the conference, and these have their own ISSN number. They are not peer-reviewed, please note this, but they can of course be cited. The purpose of this publication series is to firstly disseminate information in the paper as quickly as possible, and secondly to allow for feedback from your peers in case you wish to make amendments before submitting your paper for publication report. And with regard to book publications, you'll receive an email soon after the conference asking you for a final draft of publication consideration and any other information that may be relevant. All papers that are submitted will go through a referee process before they'll be considered for publication in any book. And then finally, now Atiner now has its own journal series. We commenced with this at the beginning of this year. And this journal series includes papers which are considered to be outstanding in content, and of course they are selected and peer-reviewed by an editorial board. A few words on collaboration. We at Atiner would like to collaborate with other institutions, such as the ones that you come from, and academics, researchers, and institutes are invited to collaborate with our institute on research and education projects. So if you have a project in mind and you'd like to get started with that, please come and see us and we can get the ball rolling. We can of course assist with the organizing of mini conferences, special seminars, etc. and get that project going. Part of our vision is to organize visiting fellowships, and we're now in the process of discussing this. And of course, if you're not yet a member of our institute, we'd like you to join, and you can also assist us with reviewing and editing of the papers. Well, finally, academic colleagues, as is clear from the program, you've got several different countries, and I hope that you're able to follow my South African accent. I think we have countries from this part of the continent, so we sincerely hope that you make the most of this opportunity to interact with each other, that you enjoy the conference, to go back home from not only on this conference, but also Athens at least, and most of all, that you want to come back to our conferences. Thank you, and I'll hand over to Professor Patricios to say a few words as well. Thank you very much, and enjoy the conference.
Thank you very much, and good morning. Welcome to Athens. This is truly an international conference. We have representatives from 24 different countries, primarily the United States, Italy, Spain, Turkey, and Iran. We have an interesting program, beginning with architectural history, and then 2 sessions each on design processes, methodology, building types, and sustainability. And then we have individual sessions on architecture of cities, space making, building materials, architects, methodology, and values in architecture. So we look forward to an interesting program. We've deliberately left the curtains open on your right, so you can look at that well-known landmark, the Acropolis. On the Acropolis is the Parthenon, regarded by most as the most beautiful one of the most beautiful buildings ever designed. I don't think there'll be any disagreement that the ancient Greeks created classical architecture with the system of Doric, Ionic, and Corinthian orders. However, what may not be as well known is that the ancient Greeks also introduced to the world different building types. As Hippodamus of Miletus declared, every city, ancient Greek city anyway, should contain 3 categories of building: sacred, public, and private. The sacred buildings, of course, would be the temple, primarily the main temple dedicated to the god or goddess that protected the city and located on the highest point, usually on the edge of the city, like the Acropolis. And being the sacred building to protect the city was always well designed and of the best material, usually marble. In the public realm, you had a number of different building types to reflect the lifestyle of the ancient Greeks, beginning with the stoa, a colonnaded portico that encircled the agora. The agora was a central open space, the heart of any ancient Greek city. I think what few people do not realize is that the agora and the stoa weren't only a social meeting place, but a marketplace, a place for political discussion, and when they had large jury trials, they were held in the agora. And then also you had philosophers using the portico to discuss the intellectual issues of the day with their followers. So besides the stoa, you had the council building, which was usually a building that had within it semicircular tiered seats. The reason being that everybody could hear and see one another during the political discussion. Then you had the theater, strictly speaking not a building, but extremely well designed architectural structure built into the side of a hill. And the slope of that theater was critical for acoustics. I know when I've taken my students around Greece and we go to Atiner, perhaps the most famous of the ancient Greek theaters, I have a demonstration. I ask the students to spread themselves out from the bottom to the middle to the top of the theater, and I stand in the middle of the orchestra, the circular structure at the bottom, and I tear a piece of paper. That can be heard right at the top of the theater. I drop a coin. I can hear it at the top of the theater. So the acoustics were the best known aspect of those Greek design theaters. Then you had the gymnasium. Today we think of gymnasium, a place you go to for physical exercise. Not like the ancient Greeks. Ancient Greeks believed in balance of mind and body. So they went to the gymnasium, which was a courtyard with a peristyle portico, to enjoy exercising both the mind and the body. Very important that you have that balance. Then you have the stadium with its architectural features, and the ancient Greeks introduced the idea of competition, certainly in athletic and physical events. So those were the range of buildings in the public realm. In the private sphere, you had the houses, which have most of the space in the city, but they were small courtyard houses. Why? The reason is, as Aristotle said, a city is a place to have a good life. A good life occurred in the public realm, not in the private realm. So the houses were unimportant and were very small. Aristotle also said that cities need to be kept a limited size. When a city reached a certain size, they established a daughter city somewhere else. You could only have a good life in a small city with a small number of inhabitants that could get to know one another. As you walk about Athens, this host city, course, you will see three of the temples that are still pretty well preserved. But the remains of the other buildings, houses, and the public buildings I mentioned have only architectural remains. But amongst those architectural remains, you will also see their classical buildings. So, how did ancient Athens, where we have an excellent example, or did have an excellent example of classical architecture, become a neoclassical city? Well, that is the feature of this very short visual presentation that comes without the commentary from me. I hope it's self-explanatory. over to you.